The phrase that everybody is using this morning is, and it's a Booger McFarland line from last night, Monday Night Football. This is the new NFL, the NFL of the future. I said a couple of months ago, I said, maybe right at the start of the season, I said the NFL is really turning into arena football, just on a bigger field. You watched that game last night. Is what you saw last night what we're going to see for years and years to come?
Well, I think in a way, for sure, that the NFL, no doubt, this year has been higher scoring, and that's because of some of the rules that have been instituted in the hope of player safety, and it's something that has to be done. I mean, if we look at football and the size of these guys and how fast they are, there had to be some rules. We're talking about people's livelihood and lives on the line. I mean, yeah, these guys are making great money, but look at what happens to them in 15 years. So anyway, that's obviously been the precedent for the rules, and the fact that the NFL doesn't want to get sued into oblivion with all these head injuries. So yes, this is the new NFL, but there aren't too many teams that can do what these two teams did last night. And I think it might have been Booger, or maybe it was Jason Witten that also mentioned that. They mentioned the Saints obviously could do some of the stuff that these two teams did last night and score 50 points apiece. Kansas City, the first team in NFL history to lose, scoring at least 50 points. So it's the new NFL, and but at the same time, remember there was it was at least one pick six, a bunch of defensive turnovers. So there was some defense played, but with the offensive talent that was on the field last night, it certainly was fun.
One of the teams that can not only match up against Kansas City or Los Angeles, but they beat Los Angeles. I'm talking about the Saints. Are the Saints? Let me start with this. Drew Brees threw 4 touchdown passes on Sunday. On the first 3, and I said this to friends yesterday, on the first 3 touchdowns, he threw the ball into an area the size of a hat. There's not a coach in the world who would, looking at film frame by frame, say, yeah, that's the throw you make, yet he makes it and he succeeds. 2 questions. 1, are the Saints that good? And 2, is it because Drew Brees is at the top of his game, even at the age of 39, I guess?
Yeah, I'm going to go to your second one first. At 39, Drew Brees is always the last, at least 10-year with the Saints, 12 years, 13 seasons, has always been labeled by accuracy and this and that, and he happens to be at his best right now, is most accurate at 39 years old, which is incredible. There's no doubt about it that Drew Brees is playing his best football right now. And yes, the Saints are that good. The problem with the Saints, and I tweeted this weekend, they cannot wait until January gets here. We're only in mid to late November. A lot of football to be played, but if the playoffs started right now, the Saints would certainly have to be the favorite. The Rams and the Chiefs would certainly be right there as well. But there's a lot of football to go, and the Saints sure hope that comes with them playing this well.
We're watching Alabama. This is just sort of as an aside. Watch Alabama blow through their schedule, just stomping on everybody. And then you watch Alvin Kamara for the Saints, and you think, here's a guy who went to Alabama and couldn't get on the field. What a playmaker he's become for New Orleans this year. Well, and last year too, huh?
Yeah, he's incredible. Certainly one of the most explosive players in the league. And the funny thing is, when Mark Ingram was out, they showed that Kamara could be sort of an every down back, not just a fun tool like they used to use Reggie Bush. But then when Mark Ingram comes back, you don't have to get Kamara these 20, 25 touches. And so that means he's at his best throughout the game. So a very, an incredible player there, and someone who would make a huge difference in the postseason, and a guy they're going to have, if he stays healthy for who knows how long, years to come.
Let's talk about the Cowboys for a second. I thought they looked pretty good against the Falcons, but was it the Cowboys who looked good, or was it just because Zeke was awesome?
No, I think the Cowboys, this is what you're going to get out of the Cowboys. Dak Prescott finally has the number 1 receiver, so the passing game can be used when needed. But that team, offensively is going to revolve around Ezekiel Elliott, whether it's passing, catching out of the backfield or just pounding it up the middle. So, the Cowboys aren't going to be the Drew Brees Saints type offense where they're going to have 400 yards passing and and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean they can't be effective. Ball control, eat up the clock, and stuff like that. So the Cowboys are definitely better on offense and better as a team with the addition of Amari Cooper. However, they're certainly not in the class of the top 5 or 6 or 10 teams in the NFL right now. But a huge game coming up Thursday. The winner of that game will be in first place in the NFC East. A must-win for the Cowboys because you look who comes into town the next Thursday night.
Interesting you mentioned Amari Cooper. Are the Cowboys good enough now with the addition of Cooper at wide receiver? Are they good enough now where if teams stuff Ezekiel Elliott and just concentrate on stopping the run, are they good enough now with Cooper to put the burden on Dak to carry the team?
I believe they are, depending on who they play. If they play one of the elite teams, probably not good enough. But I think, the other 2/3 of the NFL, the Cowboys can beat because Amari Cooper is good enough to help not only himself, but to get some of the other receivers, and we've seen it. They've drawn less coverage. So I do believe the Cowboys are good enough to do that without Ezekiel Elliott having a monster game like that. But it does depend who they play because they're still not that good.
Last question, and it may seem an odd one based on a team with a 5-5 record. Is Dak Prescott an underrated quarterback?
No, I don't think he's underrated. I think there's a pretty good mix of people that think he's good, but I think there's a lot of people that think he's not very good. So I would think, he's probably he didn't deserve as much of the credit as he got in 2016. He was really good, but he wasn't elite yet. He was a rookie, and he's not as bad as some of the stuff that's happened this year. Especially prior to the addition of Amari Cooper, because that offense, skill position-wise, outside of Ezekiel Elliott, was awful. So
you've got
somewhere in the middle. He's a good quarterback right now.
You've got your finger.
Can he be better? We'll